Welcome back to The Mind of Brandon. Today we're going to be talking about a book called How to Be a 3% Man, which was written by a guy that actually uploads videos pretty regularly here on YouTube. He goes by the username Coach Corey Wayne, and he's a pickup, dating, seduction, and relationship expert, which would be precisely why I subscribed to his YouTube channel. I kind of needed some help in those areas. And apparently that's actually a pretty common problem. According to Coach Corey Wayne, about 97% of all men are essentially clueless when it comes to pickup, dating, seduction, and maintaining healthy relationships. So only about 3% of all men really understand women and know what they're doing with them. That would be the 3% man in the title of the book. Those who really understand how to properly court, date, seduce, and maintain healthy relationships with women. That being said, Corey suggests that people read his book not just once or twice, but 10 to 15 times. What? 10 to 15 times? When I first heard him say that, I was like, dude, I'm probably not even going to read your book once. These videos better help me or else you're full of shit. Right? That was my attitude at the time. But, you know, you think about it, there's actually a logic to it. I mean, you know, he says that, you know, typically when you read a book for the first time, you're really only going to remember 7 to 10% of the information. So, do the math. It makes sense then that if you want to remember all the information, you read the book 10 to 15 times. And if you're watching Corey's videos, that is something you will hear him say repeatedly. Read my book 10 to 15 times. Read my book 10 to 15 times. Read my book 10 to 15 times, right? Over and over and over and over again, right? That said, one day, around about a year ago, it was around July, August, something like that, I was sitting at my computer watching one of Corey's videos, and in my frustration, I suddenly started shouting at the monitor. I said, "Fine! I'll buy your fucking book and I'll read it 15 fucking times!" So a few days later, the book showed up at my doorstep, and I immediately sat down and read the first half of the book. The next day, I read the second half of the book. One read down, 14 to go, but I decided to take a little more time with the next 14 reads. Now to clarify, before I ever started reading Corey's book, I'd already been watching his videos for probably at least a year or two, as well as all sorts of other videos from various other, you know, pickup and seduction experts, dating gurus, that sort of thing. And there were some pretty common types of sort of fundamental teachings I was seeing. It doesn't, you know, matter whose videos I was watching. You know, stuff like take baby steps, be patient with your progress, practice makes perfect, don't get butthurt by rejection. Right? They're teaching things like, you know, it doesn't matter whether or not a girl rejects you. The fact that you make a move on a girl helps build your confidence. Makes it easier to, you know, make a move on the next girl, because you can be like, oh, that's awesome, I just did that, I'm freaking awesome, right? You know, and so yeah, just, you know, kind of being pleasant, you know, not you know, getting angry at girls when they reject you, that sort of thing, not being worried about what people think about you, right? So yeah, I was taking some baby steps, you know, got used to just kind of making eye contact with women, smiling at them in passing. After that, I had to get used to greeting women in passing, you know, just kind of like a, you know, hey, how are you? How's it going? You know, how's your day? You know, that sort of thing. Just kind of greeting women in passing. And so, you know, there came a point where it's like, I want to, you know, do more than just greet a woman in passing. I want to stop and actually talk to a girl, right? You know, have a conversation, you know, get a phone number, that sort of thing, right? And so, I was really struggling with that. It was really hard to get over this habit of just sort of greeting a woman in passing and to actually stop and strike up a conversation. And that was around the time that I bought Corey's book. And so when I started reading Corey's book, I kept going out, you know, I'd continue, you know, trying to find people to talk to, that sort of thing. And I did actually, you know, start, you know, doing more in the way of stopping to actually talk to people. One of the things Corey talks about is go to the mall, you know, go talk to the people that are working there. And so I do that. And, you know, they'd ask me, oh, like, what are you looking for? And I'd just be honest. You know, it's like, you know, I'm really just here to, you know, get more experience, you know, trying to work on my skills with the ladies, that sort of thing, socializing with people, etc., right? And, yeah, I just tell them that. And during that time, it actually, like, really helped improve my confidence levels. So when December of 2015 came around, I decided to quit my job. I've actually since been rehired there, but yeah, I quit my job in December of 2015, and it gave me more time just, you know, to go out and try to meet women, that sort of thing. I got a lot more practice in the few months. I was just kind of living off my savings, you know, totally unemployed, right? And of course, during that whole time, I was also working on setting up this YouTube channel for, you know, monetizing my videos, right? But anyway, by February of 2016, well, February 2016 was when I turned 32. And when I turned 32, I'd already read Corey's book 10 times. I was on my 11th read, right? It was the day after my 32nd birthday that I got a girl's phone number for the first time. Now, when I say I got a girl's phone number the first time, okay, technically I'd gotten girls' numbers before, but this was the first time that I'd ever walked up to a beautiful woman that I'd never met before, struck up a conversation with her, and then got a number, okay? So after I got that girl's number, I was feeling pretty good about myself, you know, real excited with the progress that I was making, and I thought, well, from now on, it's going to be a lot easier getting girls' numbers. Yeah, it didn't work out that way. It did not work out that way at all. Over the next few days, you know, I continued going out, trying to meet more women, get more numbers, right? And there was just a scarcity of women, like everywhere I went. It's just like, where are all the beautiful women, right? Just having trouble finding them. And so when I finally did find one, what happened was I greeted her in passing. Didn't stop to talk to her. And I remember having this moment, I didn't stop to talk to her. Shit, I screwed up, right? Because, you know, I was actually starting to get used to stopping and talking to girls, but this time I just greeted her in passing. I went back to an earlier state. And guess what? It was like that for months. For months, I went back to just greeting women in passing, not stopping to talk to them. My confidence level went down. I could only speculate as to why. If you're wondering what happened with the girl that I actually got a number from, what happened was I waited 4 days to text her. You know, I told her, you know, something along the lines of, you know, hey, I'm interested in having dinner with you. When are you available to get together? And she just never responded to me. Right? Now, the good news is I really didn't care about getting a response. My attitude was, well, I'm going to be getting girls' numbers like crazy now. You know, I'm getting so good at this stuff, right? I'm gonna start getting dates. I'm gonna get laid, right? And the bad news is, of course, it didn't work out that way, right? But, you know, after several months of, you know, continuing to read Corey's book again and again, after several months of, you know, continuing to, you know, go out and try to meet more women, eventually I did finally, you know, get to a point where I could stop and strike up a conversation. There was a couple of girls. I remember, you know, one Friday evening, I walked right up to them. I was just like, hey, how's it going, ladies? You know, just struck up a conversation. We're laughing, having a good time. You know, seemed like things were going well. And, you know, when the time seemed right, I asked one of them for her phone number, and her response was, no, I'm okay. So no, she didn't give me her number, right? You know, but you know, I continued, you know, going around the mall that evening, trying to find more girls to talk to. I was kind of dying down. There really weren't very many people there. I remember there's this one girl, though, you know, I kind of greeted her in passing, and I was like, oh, shit, you better stop. You know, so I stopped, and I told her, you know, hey, come back. You know, I wanted her to come back, and I could talk to her, right? But, you know, she kind of looked back at me, but she didn't stop to talk to me, or she just kept walking, right? So 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, I finished my 15th read of Corey's book, and let me tell you, before I read Corey's book 15 times, I was a virgin. I never had a girlfriend before, and I'd never even been on a date. Now that I've read Corey's book 15 times, well, I'm still a virgin, and I've still never had a girlfriend before. And I've still never even been on a date. got a girl's phone number once. So evidently, reading Corey's book 15 times has unfortunately not actually been that helpful to me. So far, it's possible it'll be more helpful in the long run if I actually manage to start dating women, right? Let me rephrase that. When I manage to start dating women, gotta be confident, right? Right. So yeah, Corey has said that if you're just starting out, like if you're someone that's particularly inexperienced, like you've never even been on a date before, then when you first come across his teachings, you know, it might actually be a few years before you get to where you want to be, before you get to that first date, right? And he's not the only one I've heard that kind of thing from. You know, I've heard this from other, you know, pickup experts, dating gurus, that sort of thing. Basically saying, you know, if you're someone who just really lacks experience, don't know what you're doing, you're just starting to learn this stuff, it's probably going to be a few years before you start seeing real progress. And, you know, for me, it's really just been a year. So the problem, it's not necessarily that Corey's teachings don't go far enough. It may simply be that there just hasn't been enough time for me to put in the practice necessary to get the results that I want. But why is that? And that does bring me to an aspect of Corey's teachings that I do want to critique a bit. Because he says things like, there's no coincidences. The universe will always bring you exactly the right people and circumstances exactly when you need them, because you're going to learn something from them, right? And it's been my experience that that's not the case, and I'm sure that anyone that's like homeless, living on the street, or starving to death or whatever, they're going to agree with me on that. That is not how the universe works. We don't live in a universe that brings us exactly the right people and circumstances exactly when we need them, because we're going to learn from it. But yeah, he says things like, you know, if you're really clear about what you want in a woman, you're focused on what you want, you're going to start seeing that woman all over the place, right? And again, that's not been my experience. So there is some pseudoscience in Corey's teachings. But in conclusion, despite the pseudoscience, I am under the impression that the vast majority of Corey's teachings are probably legit. And maybe when I actually start dating, I'll be able to prove that. I am intending to apply Corey's teachings when I start dating, and I'm hoping that I can at some point post a video with updated information saying, hey, I'm applying Corey's teachings and they work, right? I'm hoping to do that at some point, right? Yeah, I actually was like, you know, when I started planning this YouTube channel, I was of the attitude that I'd be able to, you know, do videos telling people, you know, look, you know, I've had all this success with women. Here's what you got to do. Here's how you be successful with the ladies, right? But of course, I'm not really in a position to be doing that. I'm still kind of struggling at it. So that being said, I do hope that what I have talked about is still somewhat helpful. You know, it did occur to me it might be helpful for, you know, other people who are just learning this stuff to have not just a bunch of like pickup experts out there, but also like, you know, people who are, you know, just kind of people are just kind of starting to apply their teachings, just kind of learning this stuff, just getting into it. That might be helpful. I don't know. You guys let me know. Comment section down below. Do you think this video is helpful? If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.